He was a hardworking American guy, but Chinese Yakuza brutally murdered his mother and his wife. They thought what a normal guy could do against them. But the way he gifted death to each member Chinese Mafia on that day will actually shock you. Welcome back to Paramount Recaps. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. The movie kicks off at night somewhere in Japan. Inside a building, various rooms are occupied with some explicit activities going on. Amongst all this, a young boy is seen strolling down a hallway. A woman walks by and asks him what he's been up to. The boy responds that he's been learning something valuable. After she leaves, he sits down outside a room, pulling a comic book from his bag. Soon, a man exits the room. The man teases the boy about wanting to be a hero because of the comic. The boy finds his mother getting dressed. She's working as a prostitute. She gives him an action figure of his favorite comic book hero, Dark, and he thanks her. Later, the boy hears his mother in trouble. Grabbing a hammer, he rushes out and finds a man attacking. He tries to hit the man but gets easily overpowered. Just as the man is about to hurt the boy, his mother grabs the hammer and strikes the man. The man, however, retaliates and stabs her before falling down. Fast forward years later, the boy is now grown up and going by the name Dark. He's just been released from prison. Outside, a man named Lafik is waiting for him. It turns out Lafik was the one who helped secure Dark's early release. But Dark isn't interested in talking and walks away. Lafik continues following him, explaining that his daughter has been kidnapped by a guy named Koga Kai, and he needs Dark's help. Dark still isn't keen on getting involved and hops on a bus. Lafik, persistent as ever, follows the bus and confronts Dark again when he gets off, refusing to leave him alone. Finally, Dark stops and asks Lafik what he expects him to do. Lafik reveals that Dark can do things he can't do to his prosthetic leg. Dark still doesn't commit and instead heads off to take care of some drug dealers in an alley, showing he's still a force to be reckoned. He grabs the drugs and rents an apartment. Later, while smoking in his new place, he meets his outspoken neighbor Ivy, who drops her groceries. He introduces himself as Jake, but mentions he's also known as Dark. When he returns to his apartment, he finds an envelope on his doorstep. Inside are pictures and a video of Lafik's kidnapped daughter. Flashbacks of his mother's abuse and death resurface, prompting Dark to flush the drugs he took early. Lafik later joins him for dinner, sharing more details about his daughter's kidnapping and how the same man responsible for Dark's mother's death, Toshi Kageyama, is behind it. A flashback shows Dark's mother running out of the building after being stabbed. She hides her son before getting caught and brutally beaten. The leader of the Yakuza, Toshi's father, steps out of a car and slits her throat. After hearing all this, Dark finally agrees to help Lafik. Lafik then takes Dark to observe Toshi Kageyama's son, Shigeru, meeting up with a motorcycle gang. When things go wrong for Shigeru, Dark jumps in and kills the men attacking. Grateful, Shigeru invites Dark to dinner and offers him a spot at Yakuza. Dark accepts the offer, and Shigeru assures him not to worry about money. One day, Dark is working out at home when Ivy shows up with pizza. They sit and chat until Dark gets a call from Shigeru, prompting Ivy to leave. Dark meets Shigeru, and they team up to attack a rival gang that had captured some of Shigeru's men. Dark takes them down one by one and proves himself capable. Later, Shigeru introduces Dark to his father, Toshi Kageyama, the Yakuza boss. Dark manages to keep his cool despite knowing this is the man responsible for his mother's murder. He introduces himself as Jake Walters. Toshi isn't immediately impressed, but after Shigeru vouches for him, he reluctantly agrees to accept Dark, though he warns Shigeru not to disclose anything sensitive. After the meeting, Shigeru takes Dark to a strip club to celebrate. As Shigeru has fun, Dark spots a woman who seems familiar. Just then, a group of men, clearly professional mercenaries, attack Dark. Despite being outnumbered, Dark fights back and eventually takes them down. Toshi and Kanji, one of his men, were watching the fight and aren't too happy with the outcome. Later, Toshi tells Dark that as a foreigner or gaijin, he'll never truly be accepted into Yakuza. Dark shrugs it off, claiming he's just in it for the money. Toshi gets angry when he finds out Shigeru hasn't paid Dark for his work yet and gives him the money, though he deducts some for damages to his club. After Dark and Shigeru leave, Toshi orders Kanji to investigate Dark, suspecting that he might not be who he claims to be. Back at his apartment, the woman from the club shows up, saying that Shigeru sent her. Dark tries to send her away, but she insists that she'll be in trouble if she doesn't stay. He lets her in and offers the wine and pizza Ivy had brought over. As they chat, it becomes clear that Dark knows her. He asks Lisa why she's mixed up with these people, and she explains that she's repaying a family debt to Kageyama. Before she leaves, Dark hands her some cash, telling her his mother was in the same line of work. As Lisa heads out with the pizza, she bumps into Ivy in the hallway, who isn't thrilled to see a stranger walking off with pizza. The next day, Kanji corners Lafik, using his daughter's video to blackmail him into providing information on Dark. Meanwhile, Shigeru drags Dark along to shake down the owners of a Chinese restaurant. Shigeru wrecks the place and roughs up one of the men, despite the mother's pleas, explaining the 888 triad forced them into the situation. Shigeru warns them that the area belongs to Kogakai, takes their money, and leaves. Next, they pay a visit to the 888 gang and wipe them out for revenge. That night, Lafik hands over some info on Dark to Kanji, though it doesn't include any details about Dark's past. Meanwhile, Dark starts his revenge by heading to Toshi's place and eliminating all his men. He then confronts Toshi in his bedroom and shoots him in the leg. Dark reveals his true identity and demands to know where Lafik's daughter, Renee, is being held. Toshi, however, mocks Dark's dead mother instead. Infuriated, Dark beats him to death. Lisa walks in on the scene and, to protect herself, asks Dark to knock her out so she won't be suspected of helping. Dark agrees. Back at his place, some guys show up looking for Dark, having gotten the scoop from Lafik. Ivy, armed with a shotgun, is ready to defend, but Dark assures her that they're his business associates. Dark is taken to their base and tortured by none other than Kanji. He gets roughed up pretty badly, but Shigeru arrives just in time to save him, and Kanji lets Dark go. Later, Shigeru and Kanji go to greet Ginzo Kageyama, Shigeru's grandfather. They have a meeting where Ginzo instructs them to find out who's behind Toshi's murder. Back at home, Ivy demands answers from Dark. When she sees he's injured, she helps him into her apartment to patch him up. Dark apologizes. Shigeru confronts Lafik, asking who killed his father. Lafik pins it on Lee from the 888 gang. Shigeru is doubtful, but uses Lafik's daughter's life to force his hand. Later, Shigeru presents Lee's head to his grandfather, claiming Lee confessed before he died. Ginzo is impressed but still smells something fishy. He also suspects Dark is hiding something. The next morning, Dark warns Ivy that being around him is dangerous. Elsewhere, Toshi's tattooed skin is sent to Ginzo, along with information about Dark, spilling all his secrets. Shigeru gets a call, revealing the truth about Dark, and he's shaken by the betrayal. Lafik contacts Dark and lets him know Renee is about to be killed at the port. Lafik rushes there himself, demanding to know where his daughter is from Kanji. Kanji reminds him that they had warned him about the consequences of lying. Lafik sees his daughter hanging, about to be executed, and tries to save her, but is quickly outnumbered. Luckily, Dark arrives just in time, wiping out everyone. He goes to save Renee, but discovers it's actually Lisa. He tells her to run. In a rage, Shigeru shows up at Ivy's place and starts beating her, trying to get info on Dark. Once again, Dark steps in to save her, fighting off Shigeru's men. However, Shigeru gets Ivy in a chokehold, holding a knife to her throat. He forces Dark to kneel and threatens to kill her. Despite Dark surrendering, Shigeru still kills Ivy. Dark is brought to Yakuza HQ to face Ginzo. Ginzo reveals he knows Dark's true identity and can't understand how he survived. Ginzo taunts Dark by saying he doesn't remember all the men he's killed, but can recall the women because they're special. He calls for Shigeru, saying that avenging his father is his duty, even if he's foolish. Shigeru beats Dark in front of his grandfather. Ginzo orders Shigeru to finish Dark off, and they drag him out. As Dark is being taken away, he crosses paths with Renee, who is being escorted in to see Ginzo. Inside the car, Dark manages to kill everyone, including Shigeru, and escapes to rescue Lafik's daughter. Ginzo gets word of Dark's escape and knows he'll come for Renee. Dark storms the Yakuza HQ, taking down all the men in his way until he reaches Ginzo's office. Ginzo takes Renee hostage and forces Dark to stab himself if he wants her to live. Dark complies, and when Ginzo gets close, satisfied, Dark springs up and stabs him in the... Dark collapses from blood loss, but Renee, a nurse, manages to save him.